Awesome. I think we can go ahead and get started. So for those of you who are new to some of my webinars here, my name is Brett Hamilton. I'm part of the customer success team here. So I'll be your host. I'm also joined by a couple members of my support team as well who will be answering questions in the Q&A chat. So if you do have a question on any of the features that you see here tonight, please don't hesitate to ask us that question in the chat. And we'll do our best to answer those questions during the presentation. I know it's not as long as my normal presentations. I think it's only about a half an hour to 40 minutes long tonight. So if we can't get to your question before the presentation ends, we will do our best to follow up with an email to make sure that we answer your question. So with that being said, pretty excited tonight because it's not always that I get to kind of come out and talk about some of the newer features that have been released on the platform. And we've just had a great release that came out last Friday with a ton of new features. And this session is really to help educate you and help you understand what those new features are. So we'll just do a quick run through of some of the new features that have been added. We'll take a look at some of the changes to live sessions, which includes the addition of Webex, as well as the addition of having the ability to have multiple accounts in either Webex or Zoom signed in at once. We'll also take a look at file assignments, which is a great new addition to the platform that will allow your students to upload files that will be graded by individual instructors. Next, after that, we'll take a closer look at the new changes to the quizzes. So quizzes and exams, so we have added the ability to do multiple choice questions that have multiple correct answers to them. I know before that was a question that came to us a lot. You know, I'd like to have more than one of these actually be correct. And now you have the ability to do that. And lastly, we'll take a look at the ability to schedule reports that will run. They can either be delivered directly to your inbox or even to your customers. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. The first place we're gonna look today is the live sessions, and I'll show you how you can actually set up a Webex account. And then from there, we'll look at how we can add additional accounts to your school. So let me just share my screen here. Okay, hopefully you can all see my screen. I'm sure my folks on my team will let me know if you can't see it. But you know, this is the LearnWorlds dashboard. It is the first place you see when you first come on. But we're going to jump right through this today and go right into the integrations section of our LearnWorlds school. So if we come to integrations and we move to the live sessions tab, here's where we can actually set up the new Webex feature. So you'll notice at the top, we've now added Webex. It's pretty easy to access, and most of us, I think, have set up some kind of Zoom connection at this point. But now, if you are already using Webex and you don't want to switch to Zoom, you now have that ability to stay with one, as opposed to having to create another account with Zoom and adding more to your technology stack. So let's just jump right over here to the Webex. Pretty easy to activate. You're just going to go ahead and click here. And then I will get to this point when we get to the multiple sessions. This is available in both Zoom and Webex. But what I'm going to do is actually create the name of this account. So this will be my school Webex. My user ID, which would be the email that you use for your Webex account. The password is the same for your Webex account. And then you're going to actually use the site name, which is, you can see it's highlighted here when you are in Webex. This will show you how you can do it. And now the Webex feature really only works for meetings. So you can't host webinars in Webex, but you can host meetings within Webex. So I'm going to go ahead and get my site name in there, and I have it over here. Just give me 1 second to copy and paste that in. Go ahead and paste that, and then we're going to get connect. You can see that my account is now connected. I have now enabled Webex on my platform. The little check mark has appeared up here. And you can see that my Zoom's already connected as well. Some of the stuff right here, I will actually show you in this next section when we start talking about adding multiple accounts to your platform or to your school. So let's go ahead and actually jump over to Zoom so that we can look at how to add multiple accounts. So before, I'm sure if you were using the platform before, many of you are familiar that you could only have the ability to include one Zoom account, which unfortunately for some schools didn't work out because some schools have multiple instructors that have classes that they want to go on at the same time. Now you can actually add multiple accounts and have live sessions going on at the exact same time on different accounts. So it's similar to what you saw before. With the Zoom activated, you can now actually just come down here and add the new account. So when you're logged into your Zoom account, you would click here, connect to your Zoom account, and then that would actually add it to your multiple accounts here. You can see I already have 2 set up. And the great thing about this is now you can actually choose what instructors are assigned to a specific Zoom account. So I can actually look up on my school here. If I'm looking for a specific instructor, I can either add 1 here or 2 here. It's really up to you. Or if you're looking to just have 1 account that's assigned to all your instructors, you can just click here and this will actually assign that particular account to all your instructors. Now, the other thing that is now available is the ability to enable instructors to set up their own accounts. So you don't have to actually set these Zoom accounts. If you want to have the instructor have the ability to actually connect their own account, you can do that. You just check here. We're going to go ahead and save, and I'll actually jump into the instructor view to show you what that looks like for them. So as an instructor, I would go to manage my courses. And of course, this new live sessions thing has popped up here in the left-hand corner. And because it is enabled, I can now just go ahead and connect to my account from here. So very simple for your instructors once you set that up. If they have their own Zoom account that they want to use, they can easily do that. Otherwise, you can easily assign Zoom accounts to specific instructors. Okay, so let's now take a look back into the platform here. Now that we've covered Webex and Zoom, I think now we're going to actually jump into one of our courses, go into the course content where I can actually show you how to work with the file assignment. So I'm going to jump into my first course here as an admin. Give it a second to load here with my video playing and everything else. It's a little slow. So contents, I'm going to jump into my contents and I'm going to add an activity. Now, previously when you went into questionnaires, you had 3 choices between quiz and exam, assignments, and now you have file assignments. So students are required to upload files that can be manually graded. So this is fantastic for those who want to have, Word documents or Excel files, anything along those lines that are uploaded that you can actually grade manually yourself. So let's just do a kind of a test here. We'll save, and then we're actually jump into the settings here. And you can see, you can give it a title and a description. Here's where you can actually fill in some information like, what the assignment is about. For instance, I might just throw something like this in here. I can upload my own file. So maybe I have a Word document that I prepared that I want students to be able to take and provide answers on, or an assignment that I put together in a document, and I want students to take a look at that document and start building the assignment based on that document. I can upload a file here. I can add the assignment description. As you can see, I can check off different upload methods. So I can allow for Dropbox, Google Drive, or even a webcam capture. However, it is important to kind of note right now that the max file size right now is about 20 megs. So if you have like a really large video that you wanted uploaded, it might be a little bit difficult. You might want to look into using something like Google Drive there. Submission deadline is when the file is actually due. So you can say, I want this due by Friday. I can accept late submissions with a note, or I can just go ahead and say, I don't accept any late submissions. The confirmation message will be sent directly to the students that you can edit here. And then you can also provide any downloadable file that you might want to provide after they submit. So once they submit that file, maybe you want to provide them with the next step in the process here. You can provide a passing grade. You can allow for resubmission if they fail. And you can also say if they have a certain amount of time to actually resubmit that. Once you say, okay, it's time to resubmit that, you can set a time limit. So now I'm going to go ahead and save. And now that we've saved that in here, I'm going to actually jump into the student view and show you what it looks like for a student who just uploads, who wants to upload the assignment. So let's just pop over to my student view here. I'm signing into my course. And you can see that this new assignment is actually down here in my course. I'm going to go ahead and click here. And I can see that I can now drop files in here, either that or I can click here and actually upload them. I'm going to pull one from my device. I'm going to go ahead with one of my fake assignments that I made here. As you can see, it's a nice document, Windows document. Go ahead and save that. I can include any additional notes that I may want to include to the instructor. And then I'm going to go ahead and submit. That file has now been uploaded and submitted. So as an instructor, I can jump into my first course here. And I can go to my dashboard and see that there's now an assignment submitted by Ms. Test. So I'm going to go ahead and check that out. And here's the assignment. So here's I can actually download the file that was connected. I can include any comments that I want. And then I can go ahead and actually attach any files that I might want in the response. And I can actually give them a score. So Ms. Test, you got an 85. So now I've graded that. It's going to go into the grade book. As you can see, it's a fantastic new addition. It's going to allow you to really open the doors when it comes to assignments. Because before, it was very much word-based. Now you can actually provide whole projects that students can upload, and you can grade from there. So great addition to the platform. Next, let's take a look at another area of the platform here. We'll go into one of the quizzes I've created previously, and we'll show you how we can actually do multiple correct answers in a multiple choice question now. So before it was very much, right or wrong. You had one answer. If that was that was the correct one. Now you can actually add the multiple choice with multiple answers. You can drop that right in there. Put the question title in there, and then start filling in your, the different options that are available. You can say whether that one is correct or that one is correct. And now when the student comes in here and starts taking the test or the quiz, they would have to select all three of these to get the 100 on the question. But you do now have the ability to say, perhaps you want to set something up like A and B are correct, or A, B, and C are all correct, versus, just saying, A is correct or B is correct. So that's a new addition to the questionnaire. Again, I know we're kind of moving through this pretty quickly, but these are all the great new features. I think the next one we're going to want to take a look at is the ability to actually schedule reports. So if you are in your report center here, I'm sure some of you have noticed the scheduled reports beta has popped up over here on the left. To actually do this, you need to go ahead and create a segment. And this is actually available. Actually, I'll run through this at the end. Obviously, some of these function is available to some of the higher plans, while other functions are available to pro and up. So this particular function for running scheduled reports is actually for the Learning Center and above plans. So if you are interested in scheduling reports, you do have to be on one of those plans. We'll go ahead and just save a quick segment here. So we're going to do a search. Let's use a kind of a case study here. Let's say that you work with a large corporation and you're training their employees. Obviously, they want to have an idea of how their employees are doing within your program. And this is something that you're going to want to constantly keep an eye on to make sure their employees are actually doing the work. And then you're going to want to actually relay that information to your customers. So In this case, we're going to be searching for particular users that we've tagged with ABC Corp. And then we're going to add I want to make sure these are active users. So we're going to go ahead and apply these filters. As you can see, I've got a couple pop up in my search here. So I'm actually going to save this segment as my ABC Corp and save. So now I have the segment in here for ABC Corp. And I can come over here and hit click schedule report, or I can do that from here. Now you can see that I can actually schedule a report. I can do one, just a list of users if I want, or maybe if I want to get more detailed and actually show their progress within the course, I can select user progress report. I can choose the frequency in which this report will run. My particular customer likes to see these every Friday. So I'm going to go ahead and set them up for weekly, for every Friday. I can select the time that they're going to run in. Let's just say this will run at 8 a.m. Eastern European time, because that's where I'm at. I'm going to go ahead and set a time period. So how long is this going to run for? Do I give it a specific date when this cuts off? Or I can run them forever. I can do it in a CSV or an Excel file. And I can notify my users once the report runs. So I can simply say, this is going to go to Mr. Todd at abccorp.com. Give it a nice little subject and a message, and then I'll save. So now every Friday at 8 a.m., this report is going to run, and it's going to get sent directly to my customer. So you can see this can be very valuable to those that even work with schools and have a large number of students from those schools that come to your particular training center, or corporations, or even just for yourself to have daily progress reports that are sent out, so you know where your students are. You can actually look through that Excel file, maybe find the students that are struggling, the students that have been left behind, maybe reach out to those students and see if they need any additional help. So reporting is very powerful, but the ability to actually schedule this so you don't have to run this manually every time is even more powerful. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of this, I forgot to mention, before, what things are available and what plans. So the Webex integration is available on Pro and above. The multiple accounts, if you want to have multiple Zoom accounts and multiple Webex accounts, you do need to have a Learning Center and above. File assignments are available to Pro and above. And then multiple choice questions, also Pro and above. So really, if pretty much everything we've covered, at least most of it's Pro and above, and then a couple Learning Center. So that's it. Actually, really, I know we still have a little bit of time left, probably about 10 minutes or so. So what I'll do is I'll actually pop open the Q&A, and if you have any questions, let's just see if we can get those answered for you. And you plan to support recurring Zoom meetings. That really depends on the course that you have. So Bilal asked if there's any plans on supporting recurring Zoom meetings. So if you have a course that runs throughout the year, you can potentially just schedule those Zoom meetings on the same, every 5 days or so. All the way throughout the year. It's really up to you. Some people have courses that run, only 2 or 3 months, and you can pre-schedule those meetings so that they do reoccur. But there's no, I think, plan as of yet. I'd have to talk to my product team to actually, if there's actually going to be a reoccurring kind of functionality to it. Can you repeat about the multiple accounts? Sure. Rajesh, let me just jump right into that for you. So if I go into settings and I go to my integrations and live sessions, you can set multiple accounts now, either with Zoom or Webex, if you're Learning Center and above. So for instance, for Zoom, you would just add your account. If you're connected to the account, you just connect. It's going to ask for permission to connect with LearnWorlds, and you say yes. You can also assign particular instructors to those accounts. So you can search for your instructors here and say, I only want these instructors on these accounts. Or you can say all the instructors are assigned to that. You can also enable the ability for your instructors to add their own Zoom account by clicking here and saving. Same thing goes with Webex. You can add additional accounts for your Webex and enable your teachers the ability to do that as well. Can you clarify what users are being notified in the scheduled reports? Yes, I can. So let's just jump right back into that. So for scheduled reports, where it says notify users, let's just pick my ABC Corp here. It means that anyone that's on this recipient list would be notified that the report is running. So it just means that it's going to notify them and let them know the report's run before it gets sent. Okay. Eugene, any news on the Android iOS app update? From what I understand, that is, I believe, Q1, Q2, but I'll have someone from support actually answer you on that, Eugene, because I know there's a couple of people on that have their ear a little bit closer to that release date, but that is coming. How to integrate live Zoom sessions inside the platform. So that's actually what this does. So when you set up a Zoom session, let me just jump into a student and I'll actually show you here. So when you set up, well, let's go into a course first and I'll show you how to do that. So if you go into one of your courses and you go to, let's go to my first course again. I'm going to go to my contents. And what you'd actually do is add a live session here. So once you've kind of signed up your accounts, you'll have the ability to do that. And you go ahead and add a Zoom or a Webex here and save. And then you'd actually modify the settings here. So here's where you can set up the time, the date, and everything that particular session would occur. You can modify some of the abilities of the camera and things like that down here. But what will happen once you've added that is if I'm a student, let me just refresh this because I just added that. But if I'm a student, you can see that that's now popped up here. And when you launch that session, this is going to obviously not be live right now because I'm already in Zoom. But when you launch that session, it will launch directly from within the school. So they don't have to join through a Zoom native Zoom client or anything. They can, and you can assign a password, but this will actually allow them to directly enter through Zoom. So you can host a Zoom session directly from the course player where they see the rest of the course already. So there's no change for them. They're not jumping into a Zoom account. I hope that answers your question. Let's see here, question. How it looks like for my learners. So I think I just answered that. Let's see here. What can a webinar do that a meeting can't? Good question, Lauren. So right now, this is a webinar. You can host hundreds of people in a webinar at a time. There's no interaction in a webinar versus a meeting. Webinars are generally pre-prepared, usually have like PowerPoints or some type of presentation, and you can have the Q&A chat. You can have the, the ability to kind of control what the audience can and can't see. So they're just more, it's kind of just a different version of a live session. Some people prefer meetings because they like having the communication between the users and themselves. But webinars are more like presentation based where there's not a lot of back and forth between users. I hope that answers your question, Lauren. Let me see who we got left here. Geez, we got that. Can you clarify what users are being notified? Okay, to that. Michael, question. I can use scheduled once so students can schedule a Zoom call in the current environment. I had to plan Zoom call. Can I add as a content item the Zoom meeting as a course item? I'm not sure I understand that one. I use schedule once so students can schedule a Zoom call, okay? In the current environment, I had to plan Zoom call. Can I add a content item, Zoom meeting as a course item? I'm gonna have probably someone follow up with you on that, Michael, just so we can make sure we're getting a correct answer there. Can multiple choice quiz option be used as an assessment versus a right or wrong quiz? Based on the answers, they are A, B, or C, like a personality assessment, which result versus wrong. So you could, Jessica, at this point, you could probably use the file assignment for something like this. I mean, you could create a quiz on a document with any way that you want to set it up, and then you would manually grade that versus having a quiz in the system or an assignment exam in the system that would automatically get graded. But again, you could set that up now with the file assignment, create your own document with all the different questions on there, and have your student, fill those out and upload it. So I think that might be a way of doing that. Patrick, we have a Vimeo account. Is there an ability for students to upload larger video files to our account from LearnWorlds? Patrick, I'm going to have support follow up with you on that because I'm not 100% sure at this moment in time. Is there a calendar widget available so users can see the upcoming live Zoom events? Bilal, there's a calendar widget for yourself. We don't have one available at this moment for students, but here you can actually see where those are scheduled. What a student would see, if you have in the course player the description of the course and the date that it is going live, that would potentially be their calendar, but we don't have a calendar that we can provide them that will say there's a live session scheduled at this time. Okay. So I think that is about all the time we have. I appreciate you all joining. I hope that this session has been helpful for you in understanding what's new. And we have so much more coming. I know someone had mentioned the mobile app that it's on its way, so you can create your own mobile applications. We have a form builder coming. There's a lot more coming to the platform. So we pride ourselves in listening to the customer and listening to the different ideas and things that you guys have. So if you do have a feature request at some point, let us know, because we listen to that stuff. We prioritize that stuff based on the requests we're getting, and we add it to the platform. I think many of you have probably seen down in your account button here, the news and updates. This is constantly getting updated. We're constantly adding new things to the platform, and it's great to have sessions like this where I can actually show you some of the newer stuff. So I look forward to doing it again in the future. Thank you all for joining. If we haven't answered your question, I promise you we will get back to you through an email. So again, thank you for joining. I hope you all have a great day or a great night based on where you are. Thanks.